Guys, how you going? And welcome back to In the Sheds. We are back for another episode, and this is going to be a ripper episode just like normal, but you've got a surprise today. We've actually got our first women's player. I was about to say first women's cricketer, but just first women's player in general, not just cricketer here. It's going to be a good one. Hayden, how you feeling going into this one, mate?
Yeah, good. Something different. Keen to have a chat with a cricket guest tonight.
Exactly right. Yeah, cricket. Well, we have had emerging cricket in the podcast, so it's basically like chasing kangaroos who talks everything cricket worldwide. But tonight's our first actual women's player as well. Hayden, you mentioned about cricket, but what about the women's game, mate? You've got to get in around the women's game.
Yeah, the women's game is growing, so keen to have a chat with our guest about that. Exactly. Can I say the name?
Well, no. Hold on, mate. You just wait 1 second, all right? You just relax. Today in the Sheds, we're going to be welcoming on our first women's player to the Sheds, and with that, our first cricket player too. Yes, Bez, and I'm talking about emerging cricketer here. You may have general knowledge of the game, like you spoke the other week, but have you played for the ACT Meteors and the Melbourne Renegades? That is a big no-no. You have not played for them, Bez. So this guest trumps you, son. Our guest tonight has achieved both those feats whilst looking for a contract with the Cricket Australia National Performance Squad. Not only this, but she has also played for the Australian A squad for their tour in Sri Lanka. She's got a right arm that will have you bowl before you can blink. Please welcome on our guest, Maitlan Brown. Let's give her a bit of a welcome.
Hello. That was quite the intro.
Yeah, look at me go. I'm out of control.
I feel I'm very honoured to be the first female guest as well.
First
podcast I've done, I think.
First podcast you've done ever? Oh, nice. There you go. So we're ticking off boxes here. We're ticking off first cricketer.
Ticking them all.
First women's player. We're ticking off first podcast. Let's go. We're just out of control right now. Maitlan, I want to ask you, obviously, we've been having a bit of a difficult time in the world lately. How's everything been going for you?
Oh, well, I haven't been bored. I've been training still. We've got a pretty sick home gym set up in Canberra. I've been out on my road bike, doing some uni work, getting a bit creative, and just trying to keep busy.
I've been seeing your Instagram. I have been seeing your Instagram story with you. Is it like a portable? It's like a charger or something, and you draw on the charger with the.
Oh yeah. I was actually had my little AirPods case here.
See, look at that.
Because I got them in. They're pretty sick. Yeah, I just I don't know, got some paint pens and wanted to doodle on some stuff, and had to go with an old charger, and then I manned up and started drawing on my AirPods case, and hopefully I don't stuff it up, but I want to do the PlayStation. I think that'd be
like the whole
cool.
PlayStation, like the whole thing.
Yeah, like the big console. Yeah.
Wow, yeah, that'd be mad. As in like that same style, or like with your team, or like.
I don't know. No, probably the same style. I think the drips are pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that was mad. Well, what I want to ask you is that, obviously cricket is a bit of a different game to train for. I feel like throughout everything that's been going on, I guess cricketers as a whole would be the least impacted because, the Australian style of going in the backyard or playing on the beach, even though beaches have been closed, but playing in the backyard. Like, how have you been going training-wise through this? Has it been a lot easier than expected? Well,
we've just sort of come out of a bit of a leave period, so training in terms of cricket specific skills have been pretty low, but we actually got a ping pong table in our backyard, and we've been playing like every day for like an hour, so the hand-eye coordination training is still there. But yeah, in terms of cricket specific, I know my housemates have gone to the nets for a bit, but at the moment I'm just sort of chilling and saving my back for the season,
Yeah, exactly.
You're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to go too hard, but I guess this is kind of your break part season anyway. Like you were just kind of saying, like this is the off season for cricket, so it kind of works in well.
Yeah, and we don't have the biggest backyard to play a little bit backyard cricket, but I'm at home at the moment, and we've got a few acres, so I might get that out tomorrow actually. Yeah,
nice. Yeah, give it a bit of whack. Well, you were out. You were telling me you're in the country, right? So surely you'd have the distance, or is it like a closed little community?
Yeah, so I live on the mid-north coast, and it's a fair way from Canberra. It's about 7 hours away. It's a nice little community, and it's nice to get away and come home for a little while. But yeah, I definitely do get a bit homesick when I'm in Canberra.
So you obviously you play for the Renegades, but you base yourself in Canberra though?
Yeah. So pretty much the whole like the main part of the season is the WNCL season, and yeah, that's when I'm based in Canberra. And then for 2 months, I'll head down to Melbourne and play for the Renegades. And honestly, it is like a holiday. It's so cool.
Exactly.
We basically, we get taken care of so well by the Renegades. We stay in a hotel right on Chapel Street.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Brekkie in the morning. And yeah, you're sort of traveling around playing T20. Like, it's so fast paced. It's not long draining days. Like, it's seriously so fun.
Yeah, that's mad. Like, you get to go down for a holiday, you get paid for this holiday, and like that's just, and you're playing your passion as well. Like, look, that's incredible.
Yeah, it seriously is a dream when you get to go away for Big Bash. And there's also so much hype around the game as well, because the Big Bash is so marketable for young kids, and it's just really fun and sort of, yeah, it's cool. So you feel like a bit of a superstar, which is pretty rare for female cricket, although it's sort of trending more towards that way.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool to be able to experience that for 2 months of your life.
Well, we're definitely going to get into the basically the marketability of the BBL and the WBBL, but it will tie in, obviously, and we're definitely going to get into the growth of the women's game. I'm really excited for that. But I did want to ask you something as well. So when this is more to do with your backyard, or if you go to the beach or something, when you're playing as a bit of fun with the family, I want to kind of get an insight into what actual players are like. Do you go easy on them, or do you give them like a 150 mile per hour fastball straight at little Tommy, and you give him the Mitchell Johnson down right after?
Yeah, well, I'm a pretty competitive person, and so is my brother. So my brother, his name is Reed, but we call him Chopper.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, Chopper Reed. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah. Anyway, he's had a name since he was a kid. Anyway, so Chopper and I are so competitive, and we get into each other. I'll try to rip it in a bit short and get him on the back foot and try to smack him for six as well when I'm facing him. So yeah, definitely don't hold back against Chopper, that's for sure. But maybe against my mum, I'd ease back and maybe pull some offies or something. I'll chuck some pies out there for her.
Does it run in the family, Maitlan? Has the whole family got the cricket genes, or is it just you who's got the talent?
In my immediate family, it's actually just me. Although my brother did play growing up. He was he was really good, actually. But my pop actually was the one who got me into cricket. My brother and I the only time we'd ever sort of experienced cricket was at my nan and pop's. We used to go there when mum and dad were working, and we'd play backyard cricket all day. And we actually had a axe handle and a tennis ball as our equipment. So we didn't have a cricket bat. We probably could have just gone to the shop.
Like this big? Aren't they big?
Yeah, it's like literally like a pole, like a broomstick almost, but a bit
like a golf stick.
Yeah, and it's like a little bit flat. I don't know. It works for us. It's
Yeah.
So I remember growing up and playing with an axe handle. Bit of a Bradman story, which is obviously not comparing myself to Bradman. But it's still really cool to say that we grew up playing backyard cricket with an axe handle. So
yeah, well, that's like one of those typical Aussie stories, you know?
Yeah, exactly. The axe handle. And the stumps were the clothesline, so that's a pretty small target as well.
Yeah, true. So
that's the only sort of, then I just sort of got into cricket because of my pop.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, well, I was actually going to say, because you referenced Bradman just then, and although this is, we're kind of referring more to you here, but myself, but myself, I'm actually, I think my great uncle was Alan Kippax. I don't know if you know who Alan Kippax is, but he played with Bradman at the time. So it's cool.
Oh, really?
For everyone.
That is really cool.
My great uncle, best friends with Bradman. There you go. Take that. That one.
There you go, guys. In the
I don't have a cool thing like that.
What do you mean? Your cool thing is you're playing with an axe bloody thing and a clothesline. Look at you go.
I have a cool rally.
Do you know how fast your bowl is? Do you have any idea?
I think I bowl like around 117 in Big Bash. But I'm more of a this season I'm trying to be a mean fast bowler, right?
Yeah.
So just watch this space.
I'm watching.
I'm running it hard. I've been working with coaches.
Yep.
But I'm a bit I'm more of a crafty sort of bowler. Like I have heaps of different slow balls and sort of variations that sort of mess with their minds. I'm not the mean, scary fast bowler yet. I'm just a little sneaky fast bowler.
Working on it.
But there's a storm coming, and it's coming. It's coming for you, Melbourne Stars. She's calling you out straight away.
That's right. Look, 117 is better than 110, so I'll take that.
117 is better than probably I can bowl. I can tell you that right now. I don't even know what I'd get. Hayden, what do you reckon you'd get, mate, if you had a bowl?
16 if I'm lucky.
16. Okay, I don't know if I'll do that.
And hit your big toe.
Exactly, or hit the wiki just on
the top of the net.
Yeah, on the top of the net. Exactly right.
Maybe a 30. Maybe I could crack a 30.
Surely you're underestimating this. Sure, can you give us a bit of insight here, mate? Like, do you think he's completely underestimating this, or what?
Yeah, I don't know. Look, I don't know. I guess you'll have to go down to the nets and see.
I just feel like a grudge match, in the sheds grudge match. I just feel like a 30 would be. Surely that's not. Surely that's quite.
Yeah.
Oh, what's going on here? Can you get? Whoa. Hello. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, Maitlan. She's going.
Yeah, she's got a bit of a piano right now. If you can hear us, Maitlan, we can hear piano noises right now. No, I can hear it trying to say, "Can you hear me now?" Can
you hear me?
Yeah, don't worry, Maitlan. Trust me when I say this. I have this frequently. Like, not as bad as this, but I have this frequently. We can hear you well, but we can see you doing this into the
doing this.
Can you see me?
Yeah, we can see you just doing this.
Like this, yeah. It's like
I'm here.
You're good. Don't worry. Don't stress. No stress.
Turn the pocket Wi-Fi on and off.
Oh wait. Oh, we got another one. We got another Maitlan Brown coming in. There's two of her. Oh, we can see her.
What the heck? Why is there one going?
Why can we still see you over here? And we can see. Hold on. I'll remove. Oh, hold on. This is funny as.
Keep that, surely, for the fucking.
Yeah, come on, leave it.
I'll leave it up. Okay, we'll leave it up for the rest.
Can you see it, Maitlan? Can you see it now?
No, I can't.
Guys, we've just had massive technical difficulties, like huge. As you can see here, we've got one Maitlan here. We got one Maitlan over here. So, and she's just doing this. So, Maitlan, you'll see this when it comes out. I'm going to remove it now. That's a crack up. That is absolutely.
You taught us some piano lessons, I think, Maitlan. It was going.
Yeah, that was a crack up. But the funny thing is that I can't even actually remove the. Oh wait, here we go. Okay. No, I can't even actually remove it. So guys,
let it be. Let it be a reminder how bad the internet. Let's hope ScoMo sees this, so we can just fix that internet. You know.
Yeah, exactly right. Come on, ScoMo, mate. Okay, so where were we? That's my question. Where were we? We were talking about. You know what? If you guys, by the way, guys, if you're listening on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, or TuneIn right now, you can all see what's going on right now on BKR Sport YouTube, because right now you wouldn't have a clue what's going on. You would. Oh wait, can you guys see me? You guys are frozen. Guys, you won't believe this. If you're listening to us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, or TuneIn, we've just had an absolute major technical issue with Maitlan first. So she went, obviously, as you guys saw on BKR Sport YouTube, but then I went straight afterwards, and it's just been it's been out of control. We're just trying to get this mess back sorted.
Central Coast Internet rules.
Oh,
Fiji sucks.
Oh, here we. Oh, okay. Fijians, get on his Instagram right now. Yeah, Fijians, get on Entertain House Internet, his Instagram right now and slaughter him for that comment. Gee whiz, you are out of control, mate. We're gonna get back into
Fiji.
Yeah. Here he goes now. We want to get into women's sport now. Obviously, women's sport we have somewhat touched on. In regards to, the growth of it. What is your thoughts of like an insider's perspective on how much it has been growing recently?
Well, I guess from a personal perspective, when I was growing up, the only thing that I played, was boys. So we only had boys and men's cricket, and I played that the whole way through up until like 16. And then I found out that there was a women's comp in Sydney, and so many opportunities when I moved away. But now it's so much easier for country kids, even city kids, just to get into women's sport, women's cricket in being specific. And yeah, it's just insane to see how many opportunities has opened up for females to play cricket, especially, there's an increased amount of money that's gone into the game as well. So being a full-time professional cricketer, female cricketer, I should say, is actually a possibility, which is something that I probably never really thought would happen. But yeah, it's crazy to see how much it's grown, especially with the World Cup this year. Like to get 86,000 people there. I was just watching on TV and I had goosebumps just seeing how many people there. It was insane.
And Katy Perry representing.
Yes, I had the biggest FOMO, honestly. I wanted to go so bad.
It was in Melbourne though, right?
Some tears were shed. That was
at the MCG, yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah,
MCG
that would have been
Melbourne.
Absolutely insane. That would have been absolutely insane. And it just shows
crazy.
It just shows how much women's sport has grown, specifically into cricket, but as a whole as well. I think we saw it might have been 2016 with the Women's World Cup in football, as in soccer, which really, I feel like that was the key moment worldwide that women's sport was starting to really make some ground roads.
Yeah.
Like we'd start to see it grow, but when that World Cup and when the USA women's team with Megan Rapinoe and stuff, I think that was the moment that it started to click.
Even like in Melbourne with the AFLW, they get an insane amount of people rock up to their games, which is so cool, and it's great to see like the awareness for women's sport just sort of grow.
Yeah, it's insane. But what is AFL women's? Because I know with rugby,
they get like 15,000 at a game.
Yeah, they get like 15,000 a game. But are their tickets free or are their tickets on sale?
I actually don't know.
Either way, the point of the matter is that like the point of the matter is that the fact that people are actively, like I'm going to tell you, like I'll probably before any of our time, there was no way that anyone would ever go to a women's sporting event. And nowadays,
I didn't even know women played cricket. I didn't even know chicks played cricket, and I was like, when I was playing, I was like, oh gosh, like this is. And when I got to like PWSA or whatever, and I didn't think there was many girls, and I thought I was good, but I probably wasn't, and I was saying, oh my god, I'm going to make the teams because there's hardly any girls, so it's getting in.
I think including women's sport with the NRL, it's such a big factor now. The fact that the women's game grand final is played before the main stage. It used to be New South Wales versus Queensland. You've seen just how far it's become. I still think there's a lot of negativity around it, and I really hope that starts to get removed. We're moving into
that's just political stuff, really, to be honest.
It is, and we're moving into
the boomers talking.
We're moving into an era though where the girls can play better than the boys.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at Elise Perry, for Christ's sake. She's an absolute athlete. She trumps anyone in my books. She's absolute.
I think
talented.
In my opinion, I don't know if I could say that the women have gotten better than the men, but they're definitely on track too, because obviously there's not been as much financial impact to be able to grow the game in regards to facilities and to training and to the actual, I guess maybe America might have and European football may have, but it's still, like I said, a very political thing with the downplaying of women's sport. But like I said, I think that World Cup really did bring a new light to it. And do you think that one day eventually women's sport could be on the same level as men's?
I think it's definitely trending there. I'm not really sure like the whole business structure, whether it's going to be profitable or not. That's for the pros to answer. But look, I honestly think, I know that in Cricket Australia, the women's and men's setup is really, really similar. So they're definitely trending in the right direction, that's for sure.
Is there an NBA W team? I know the
there's plenty.
Kings have a female. Yeah, there is. So there you go. There's examples of the growth.
I don't know if it's not NBA, but whatever the female comp is in Australia. WNBL, is that it?
WNBL, yeah.
Yeah. I go and watch the Caps a few times. They actually get so many people there. It's sick. It's ridiculous.
Well, that's what I saw with the AFLW as well, like over in Western Sydney, when like even GWS versus somebody, I can't remember who it was, but their women's team was playing, and I'll be honest with you, it was a ridiculous game. It was raining, it was muddy, it finished like 9-8 or something like that. But there were still heaps of people who went. So
the punters just get around it.
Exactly right, but you still see people actually actively, seriously getting around it, like actually going to the game, and not just the parents, because I feel like it used to be just the parents and the families that would
Yeah.
go, but now you have your actual true supporters of
Yeah.
the teams who go out there.
The banners and everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
the
sick.
banners. It's actually it's kind of mad.
I want banners at cricket.
Do you what's your like crowd sizes when it comes to WBBL? Because I know that it's been like really focused on from
Yeah.
the BBL side of structure.
Yeah. Well, obviously last season was the first time it was standalone, so we weren't really sure how it was all gonna play out. But the great thing with that is that we played at so many community grounds, so it was really easy for parents and families to come along and access it. And so I think, I don't know, we got a couple thousand here and there, but especially when we played the Stars at Junction Oval, that was hyped up. That was pretty cool. We got a decent crowd there. A lot of school kids came as well, which was really cool to see them all in the grandstands. They get little chants going on, and it's really nice. Except they don't know the whole sort of dynamic, and they just keep yelling but when the bowler's running in and like releasing the ball. But in a couple of games it definitely worked in our favor, which was pretty good.
Yeah,
You've mentioned schools coming to the grounds. I was going to ask the other way around. Do you and the Renegades go to schools to teach young ones the skills of cricket, and young women like yourselves that are aspiring to become athletes in whether it be national, WBBL, or just your local cricket team?
Yeah, we actually have a few days in the calendar when Big Bash is on, and we go around. We all spread out and go around to different schools in Melbourne. Some of us even head down all the way to Geelong, which is pretty cool to be able to get into the more
go the Cats
spaced out. Yeah, go the Cats areas, and which is really cool. It's always so fun because at the end, or the Q&As. You always get really funny questions and all the like, what's your favorite color and things like that. So it's nice to be able to go to schools and show them that, you know, I'm a professional female cricketer, and if you put your mind to it, you can be on too, which is it's pretty special to be able to see.
Yeah, what I want to say on that is that, like, obviously there is many men's professional players who go and do this, but in comparison to you guys like with women, you're really actively influencing individual women, right? I feel like with the men, and I'm not downgrading the men at all here, but I feel like with the men, it's like you kind of see it. It's too big, and they love the player coming, but it's not really severely impacting them long term, in my opinion. I feel like it'll get them to watch and stuff, but in regards to women, I feel like the young girls will really take note of what they've seen specifically, and it'll really motivate young women specifically in comparison.
Yeah, I guess so. You know, I think with the whole organization is trying to grow the game, so they're trying to get us out there as much as possible, and if that means going to as many schools as we possibly can to inspire young girls, I think that is brilliant. I can remember a couple times the blokes from NRL, the Newcastle Knights came to our school and would do the little gala days, and they have like the mini footballs, and that the mini footballs was really what got me inspired to play cricket. No,
the mini footballs got you inspired to play cricket. I want to get that moving into that, actually. Like, you did briefly touch on it before, how you got into it by playing at your nan and pops, but what specifically made you choose cricket? Was it the fact that it was a non-contact sport and your parents loved that part of it, or was it the fact that because that's been a huge influence lately in the last probably 10 years to see the somewhat, I don't know if I'd say regressing, but there are other sports that have had a downward trajectory because of that contact sport factor, or was it the fact that obviously it's like an Australian pastime, really?
I played lots of different sports growing up, and I still play some to this day. So played golf to start off with.
Golf.
And I still play golf. Yeah, golf. That was the first sport. And then I played a bit of soccer and hockey and cricket, and they were all sort of at the same time. And I don't know, I guess it just came naturally. Like, I just kept getting selected in rep teams for cricket. So I'd prioritize that over hockey semi-finals or whatever. So it just sort of like naturally trended towards cricket based on like selection, I guess. So that's sort of how that came about, which is not very exciting, but
Well,
It's the truth.
it is what it is, you know. It is what it is. That's
Yeah.
the thing that people, when they listen, like not everyone wants that huge, fantastic, massive story. They want it's more relatable to everyone, you know. Everyone doesn't have
Yeah.
that huge, like what is it, Bend It Like Beckham story or
Yeah.
bloody
I laid
$1 Million
out all
Baby.
3 different bits of equipment and the lightning struck the cricket bat, and that's what really got
Exactly
me playing
right.
cricket.
Yeah, see, there you go. Well,
Yeah.
well, maybe for next time you're on a podcast, you can use that one. But I think
That's
people really
the
will.
clickbait.
Yeah, that's the clickbait. Yeah, but I think people really will appreciate that the honesty of like straight up of how you come about. And what I want to ask on that as well is that through grassroots, how did you kind of know that that's what you wanted to do as an actual long-term career
Yeah.
goal thing? Because a lot of people obviously they grow up and they they just think it just has a bit of fun, really, just a bit of fun, but you've turned it into something else.
Yeah, well, when I do get asked that question, when did you, look at it for as a career as such? But once again, it just sort of came naturally. I didn't really consider it to be a career until I was actually contracted and in it, because of how it all sort of came about. So I was actually originally, all my junior cricket was through the New South Wales pathway. So played underage New South Wales, and I was in year 12 and I was struggling to drive down to Sydney and back constantly because it's like 4 hours away.
Yeah.
So that was like taking a toll on my study. So I had to sort of prioritize that. And then I got dropped from the New South Wales program, and I was just sort of bumming around working in a cafe at home, and my mate who plays the ACT, Andrew Reeks, gave me a buzz and was like, "Hey, what are you doing? Like, I told my coach about you. He might give you a call." And I was like, okay. So I was playing pool at the local pub on a Wednesday night, just in the pool comp.
That's the best way. That's the
As
best
you
thing
do.
to do.
Yeah. And I get a phone call and it's like, "Hello, this is James, the head coach of ACT." I'm like, "Oh, what? Sorry, what are you doing?"
I'm trying to shot here, mate.
Exactly.
Hold on, mate.
Sinking the
I
eight.
went outside, and took the phone call. Look, that could have jeopardized my pool career, but anyway.
You could be on the world stage right now.
So I took the phone call, and he basically just said, "Hey, what are you doing? Do you want to come down to ACT and train? We've already given our contracts out, but we'd still like you to come out of our program." So I didn't really have anything else, and I just sort of took a bit of a leap of faith and went down there, bowled as fast as I could and as well as I could in the nets. And next thing you know, I got to debut at the Wacker, which was pretty cool. Yeah, it was just sort of like out of the blue. I just trained really well, trained hard, and tried to do as much as I could at home, because I wasn't living in Canberra at that stage, because I was only just getting like at the time, $200 match payments, and we only played 6 games. So it wasn't enough to live off. And
but it was enough. It was enough to afford some pints down the pub. That's for the pool tournament.
That's right. Yeah, that $2 pool entry. I got that.
What is that? That how many games is that? That's about 100 games you can put through. So you're living up or at 50 games and the rest on beers. No, but no, that's really cool.
Speaking of 50 games, are you looking forward to your 50th match in your next season? You'll be playing. That's a great segue,
mate. You're a great segue artist.
Oh, really?
Move into it. Oh, you don't even remember.
I didn't know that. Look.
Match number 50.
Well, of course I'm excited. It's achievement.
She's so excited that she didn't know about it. Hayden, I want to see. I want to test you right now, Hayden. Do you know which game it is? Oh wait, no, the draw would be out, would it? Okay, ignore that. Forget what I just said.
You know more than I would.
Well, let's say this then. Okay, so why do you feel like women should get into cricket in comparison to other sports? Do you feel like what's been your
go full bias here, or no?
Be full bias. Do whatever you feel like. What do you feel is the draw card for cricket compared to other sports?
I think the thing that probably drew me to cricket was the sort of team environment that it is. I don't know, team sports I think is so crucial for kids growing up. You meet so many different people. Like, I've met my best friend playing in the Renegades, and so many different connections from all around Australia and the world. It's I don't know, I just really like cricket because I'm really good at it, I feel. I don't know.
I love it.
I like cricket because it's Yeah, I think because I'm good at it, it gives me a lot of confidence. And so that's why I really like it, because I feel really, I feel like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's pretty straightforward. I like the confidence aspect of it. You know, I like the fact that you chose based on your confidence rather than kind of just what the general consensus was. I feel like a lot of guys, and I speak from experience, I went through a lot of sports when I was growing up, but I feel like a lot of guys choose the general consensus of who they're playing with or who their friends go with.
Yeah.
But it was great to see that you kind of went based on your confidence rather than, you know, just kind of
what a
what's
wank
going on.
answer.
No, it's great. No, it's good. But what actually specifically as well, we have spoken about the Melbourne Stars and Renegades a little bit. Is there a rivalry in the women's game as well?
Yeah, between the Stars and Renegades, I'd say there's rivalry for sure. Yeah, it's always, you know, it's obviously Melbourne derby, and you get a pretty decent crowd to that as well. And yeah, I guess like the Vic squad gets split up a bit as well, so there's a little bit of teammate banter within that. But I think also because in the past, every time we played the Stars, it's always been such a close game for some reason. Like last season, the Stars, they really struggled with their season, but when they played against us, they turned up and beat us in like, I think the second last ball of the game. So
wow.
Yeah, it's always such a close game, and it makes it pretty exciting. So each time we play, you know, we'll know it's going to be, everyone's going to be on.
Well, that's the thing with BBL, you know, that's the thing with the 2020 part of this game, because we will kind of get to in a little bit about the general view of cricket right now across all boards. But in regards to BBL, like that's the fun of it. That's why there's so many people that are there, and there's so many people who are excited about this form, because it can happen in the last second with 5-day internationals. It takes a while, and you're probably not going to get a final ball win. One day is you can get it, but it's still unlikely. But 2020,
well, the World
Cup
final, England and New Zealand,
that was
the
incredible.
Last ball. That was
debatable
sick.
as
I was
well.
in England. Yeah, I was in England when that was being played, and we were in this tiny little pub, and we were getting heckled because we were sort of like going for New Zealand, and they're like, "What are you doing?"
You should have said, "Well, you bloody cheaters, mate. You bloody know."
Yeah.
Well, they know.
I think as far as the Renegades go, the performance has been good. You guys have made the top 4 2 years in a row now. Or do you think by finishing in that 4th spot again, it's a regression as a team?
It definitely. God, last season felt like a blur. Yeah, it's such a great feeling getting to the finals, especially when I first was at the Renegades. I think we won like 3 games the whole season. So the first year that we actually got into the finals was like, it was insane. It was so great. Like we had such a belief sort of going into it. And looking back, we totally should have won. That one boundary stop by Aaron Burns kills me to this day. But yeah, I guess last year it was also such a like great feeling making it to the finals, but then it's such a high, and then when you sort of drop the ball and don't get across the line to get into the final, it is such a low again. So yeah, it's hard because we have so much belief in our team. Like we've got a great team. It might be a bit different this year. Like I'm not really sure, you know, because we don't have there probably isn't going to be international players with everything that's sort of happening at the moment, and that works in our favor as well, because then we don't have to be rolled up by Marizon Cap or
exactly.
It actually will.
It will benefit you guys, because you won't have to have. Well, I don't know how much this affects women's game compared to the men's game, but it will benefit you guys on not having to lose those players to international games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I think also we're getting a new coach, so that'll be different again. But definitely, I think we still have the same core group. So we've been together for a while, and if we can just sort of get our shit together when it comes to finals time and win those crucial moments, then I think we can go all the way. But it's pretty much just trying to win those crucial moments.
Who do you think's the biggest threat to you guys in thinking about this year upcoming?
I think the Sixers are always the biggest threat, to be honest. That they've got. Yeah.
I'm a Brisbane Heat fan. Get out of here, Heat.
Yeah, I think the Sixers are a pretty big threat. In saying that though, like last year, there were so many different teams that stepped up, and the competition was insane. Like the Strikers had a brilliant season. The Heat won again. Like, yeah, it's just everyone's just sort of every year it just keeps building and getting better and better. So it's hard to pick because, as you said before, T20 cricket, you literally have no idea what's going to happen. So
no idea. It's out of control. Like sometimes you'll go into a game thinking that that 100%, and this is more towards like, you know, Chrissy Lynn and McCullum, and you'll go into that game thinking, okay, well, we're going to win this game. They're going to smack us a couple sixes, and next minute they're out in the first 2 balls, and it's just like, well, I'm going home. Like this is just bullshit. Like this is ridiculous. And I've been noticing that in the women's BBL as well, is that we've definitely been seeing some really, really competitive games across the park, and there's no really like terrible team per se. There's no real team that is completely out of it. Like you said, the Stars struggled and still beat you guys.
Beat us, yeah.
So
cheers.
Cheers. I was just reminded about that one.
Even like we had a game against the Sixers last season, and it was just a round match. And we needed like 13 off the last over. Marizanne Kappa's bowling. She is probably the world's best T20 bowler. Couple slip through the gaps and whatever. Hit, and we needed, I think, 5 to win off the last ball. And Courtney Webb actually hit a 6 and we won the game.
That's mad.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Just,
13 off the last over.
So on the other end of Marizanne Kapp, which is like brilliant bowler. It just wouldn't happen any other day of the week, and it just happened. So it's just like T20 cricket is just crazy.
Considering that we are talking about the competitiveness and the growth of the competitiveness and the fact that it is looking really good across the board, how do you keep yourself on a personal level for the young listeners out there who want to get into something like the WBBL? How do you personally continue being so consistent quality-wise when there is so much talent coming through?
I guess, well, last season started off so well. I was at one stage like the leading wicket taker of the comp, and then the spinners came through. Classic spinners. They always take so many.
There's a little bit of a resentment there. I can hear that. There's the spinners. Gee whiz, you know.
There is. Yeah, Jess Jonathan takes a 4 back to back in 2 games, so that really knocked me off my perch. So I was going really well, and then sort of plateaued, and then sort of dropped off a bit. And I think that was probably just due to a really long season and just being really fatigued and a bit cooked. But this year, in my preparation, I've actually also been working with a mental coach, mental strength coach, which Gary Mills, plug in.
Shout out Gary.
He's been really good. Shout out to Gaz. He's been great. We've been trying to prepare myself to build that consistency in the season and really, really like, oh God, what am I going to say? Shit, I've lost my train of thought here. All right, where's Gaz? I need him.
Gaz, where are you? Hold on. Get Gaz on the phone.
So I've been talking with Gaz to try to maintain some consistency and beyond in those really crucial moments. But the main thing that I'd say to build that consistency is having a routine, and that's something I sort of touched on towards the back end of the season when I was sort of lacking consistency and trying to find it again, working with coaches. So build a little warm-up routine that I try to go through, and that helps me sort of like, build that consistency and hope that it sort of transforms like on field as well. So, yeah.
How does training look like to be able to do that? Because is it more about the frequency of it, like just bowl and bowl and bowl and bowl, or is there aspects of it that you need to actually specifically tweak?
It sort of depends. It varies. So like if I feel good, then I don't feel like I need to bowl and bowl and bowl. It's more of like a feel thing. So my routine when I start, I'll just hold the ball, seam up, and just throw, and just try to throw and get really nice seam. And then I'll move into a bit of like a bowling action. And it's just all about getting the right feel for what I'm about to do, and then, have a warm-up bowl and see how we go there. But sometimes it can be the opposite way as well. Like if you're just overtraining, then you're overcooking yourself. So trying to find the right balance for what works for you as well.
How big is the recognition in women's sport? Like I'm talking on a side of whether it be the coach saying great ball out there, or being given a medal for a performance. What's the recognition like on that side of things?
I feel like it's pretty low key. I haven't been on the massive like World Cup stage yet, so hopefully that comes one day and I'll get some solid recognition
Did
there.
you play in Sri Lanka though?
In terms of, I did play in Sri Lanka, actually.
Yeah. No, see, she's surprised.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, I said that. You know, I
Yeah,
said you did play in Sri Lanka though.
You played in Sri Lanka and your 50th match is coming up. You got to test the old memory.
Yeah, true. No, it is really good. Like after every game, you always have your little debrief and you bowled really well today. You hit these areas. This is good. Try to do that next game. And recognition's probably low key, but not too low key that you don't think you're getting recognised or anything like that.
You've said that you have personal goals of being more of an aggressive bowler. What are your personal goals on a long-term basis within the game? Like, do you have any specific goals that you want to achieve by the end?
In terms of my game as a cricketer, everyone has to be all-rounder these days. So, like from 1 to 11, you got to bat. So I'm trying, especially this season, we've got hopefully John O'Dean's our coach. We don't know yet, do they? We've got a really good coach in ACT that I'm going to work with and try to develop my batting game a bit more. So if I can try to step up from that aspect, then I'll be pretty happy. But yeah, in terms of overall sort of goals, I obviously aspire to play for Australia one day. But at the moment, just trying to focus on what's happening right now, because if I focus on too far in the future, then I'll just forget about what's actually happening. So
fair enough. Well, that's obviously you want to achieve playing for Australia. That's the biggest thing you can possibly do, and you've had a little bit of a taste for it where you did go to Sri Lanka that I reminded you of. Well, actually, how was that being? Did you go to Sri Lanka? Or
that
was
was
it in
my
Australia?
first overseas trip. Hey.
Oh, so you went to Sri Lanka? You were actually in Sri Lanka?
Yeah. I've been to only places I've been overseas is all with cricket. And first one was Sri Lanka, which was pretty crazy. To be the first place I ever traveled to overseas was a bit of a shock, to be fair.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Third world country, I was pretty conservative and just stay in the hotel a little bit and getting the tuk-tuk here and there, but I was pretty low key in the hotel room around the pool. Then I went to India, and that was even more. That was Sri Lanka on steroids.
Exactly right.
And I was out and about in India and really embraced it, which was really cool. And then we went to go to England last year, which was even cooler.
Well, being Sri Lanka and India, they're two big nations for cricket. Like they're really huge nations for cricket. Like, how was that being in those two places? Like cricket in India and Pakistan and places like that, like people genuinely die over this sport.
Yeah.
So it's compared to Australia, and we're actually going to segue into this in a second, but compared to Australia, the fandom is not exactly the same. So how did it feel going to places like Sri Lanka and India where it's dying? Yeah,
the DMs
it's mad.
It was crazy. It's I remember playing in India and sort of taking a moment to just see what was around and soak in the environment. And you can see around the outside of the ground where the gates up, everyone's sort of parked their rickshaws up and are just hanging off the gate, just watching a game of cricket. I don't even know what is being played most likely, but they really embrace it. And it's such a crazy sort of it's crazy how much they get around it. It's cool.
Indescribable by the seams of it, mate.
Yeah.
100%, dude. Well, I've got India, Pakistan on my list.
BKR travel.
You must play cricket. Even on Instagram, you see they broadcast every single match. It would be a backyard cricket game, and it'd be 24th grade cricket that they'd have because they just have so many people playing. And the trophy for the competition is as tall as them.
Yeah, wow.
It's just crazy. They just love it.
Well, the thing is, and this is actually what Hayden was just saying, but I'm going to plug my BKR Sport here, the bucket list. On my BKR Sport bucket list, which is 101 sporting events to complete before I die on BKR Sport, India versus Pakistan is on it. And I'm genuinely terrified. I am terrified of going to that game because, like I just said, people die. And going to that game, if you're not supporting the home team, you're in trouble. You're in severe trouble. So that shows the difference between, say, here and there. And another reason on that as well is that when it comes to do you feel like that's a massive kind of point behind the quality of India and I don't know, Sri Lanka's kind of gone backwards a little bit, but do you feel like India's quality comes from the fact that everyone's just obsessed with it and they're forced to be quality?
I guess not having a dig at India here, but I think Australia are still like the best
Dig in.
when it comes to cricket. Yeah, I just think they just aren't very good fielders, you know. India just are not good at fielding. As we
Take
saw in
that,
the World
India.
Cup, second ball in the first over of the game dropped. Anyway, no,
Take
don't
that,
let
India.
India.
India,
I
you're
mean, no,
listening. You're
would just be
listening.
like, no, I think no, there's some brilliant players. Don't get me wrong. Like Shafali Verma, we played a game against them in Brisbane, a warm up before the tri series, and she was definitely trending to get 200 before the 15th over. That
Seriously?
was
For 200
yeah. I'm not
over.
even joking. I'm not even joking. She was on like 120, 130, and I looked up and it was like 11 overs gone.
That's insane.
Get me off the field.
Gee whiz.
She went off. So yeah, they obviously have a lot of heaps to choose from. And yeah, they've still got a fair way to go in terms of building. But I mean, yeah, God, they're still really bloody good.
How do you deal with their spin though? Because their spin, like in those kind of
it's
the
very
Asian
low.
countries, is very difficult. Like I remember when I played a little bit of 2020 last year. I played on like a small time level, just a bit of fun. But I had one bowl. I got bowled out first ball on a duck.
Don't talk it up. No.
I was fantastic. I was Alan Kippax. You'll be proud, mate. No, you won't be proud, Alan.
Yeah.
But the point of the matter is that there was one bowl. I believe he was maybe Indian or Pakistani, I can't remember. But sorry if that's offensive to anyone out there. I didn't mean that, but because obviously that's a big rivalry. But
hey, I bagged the Indian fielding just before. It's on me.
Well, yeah, there we go. Well, Indians and Pakistanis, if you're listening, get all your friends to come and hate. I don't care. Just come and listen. Who cares? But what I was saying was that like people come and bowl. And I got bowled straight away, like with a spin, straight away. I couldn't deal with it. How do you guys deal with that kind of stuff? Because that was just madness. And that was an easy bowl too.
But because I'm such a batter, I'll give you something very technical.
Come on, get it.
Yeah, no. Well, actually, when we were in India, the pitch that we played on was pretty similar to the pitches here. So that sort of worked in our favour. But tactics and everywhere they sort of bowl, the trajectory is a lot different. Yeah, it was pretty hard to face. I remember I definitely didn't score many runs against them, but they had this sneaky little field set where they bowl really slow and really wide on the offside and then just stack like 4 points deep cover. And honestly, that was a field, and we were like, oh, how do we get this out of here? Because we just hit it and it just goes straight to the field. So we like jump over, we'd almost be like off the pitch and we'd try to hook it to the square and it would just like die. So we were in shambles and our coach was just sort of like, what are you doing on the side of the field? But look, that's a question for a batter, but like
I just find it so difficult. Like I can't see how when I see it, it's coming and I'm like, oh no, I've got to smack this. I'm going to smack this and no.
Yeah, well, I would just say commit. Whatever you do, commit. That's my thing.
I committed.
If you're going forward, go forward. If you're going to go back, go back.
Well, I definitely committed and I definitely got out. So that
sounds like have you tried turning it on or off?
Yeah, exactly right. But now let's, I said we we're going to get into this, and this is a bit of a divisive topic for everyone out there, but the Australia kind of way right now with cricket, like do you feel like how do you feel cricket is in Australia right now? Do you feel like it is still the number one national sport because it used to be, or do you feel
because of the thing that happened with
the thing that happened down there? Like, do you feel like that's a major impact on how cricket's regressed, or do you feel like it's more to do with the fact that people have just kind of gone away from it on a national scale?
Personally, I don't like. I definitely think that the last few years have been a bit dodgy, a bit like, hating on cricket. You go through the Instagram comments and you see someone comment like, oh, sandpaper on David Warner's Instagram or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know, for me, I feel like the whole sort of culture, like they went through a massive, they went through heaps of shit.
Restructuring period.
For it. Yeah, massive restructuring period. And I don't know, right now, being in it, it seems pretty sort of normal. And I feel like, I don't know, I haven't really experienced any anything sort of negative, specifically in female cricket. So.
Well, that's the thing. I think because obviously that was it was a situation that did involve the men. I guess that you
Yeah.
guys wouldn't really get too much of
Yeah.
the effect of that. But I think we've briefly said something. I don't know, Hayden. You can tell me if I'm right or wrong here. But I think we've briefly spoken on another podcast about the lack of the way that people's focus in games or just focus in life has. Like the attention span, that's what I'm trying to say. And cricket obviously is a game where you need to have a decent amount of attention span, especially in the 5 days, especially in the 1 days. 2020, you don't really. It's just like bang, 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 bang. But
which is probably why everyone loves it, because everyone's like that now.
Well, that's why probably I think 5 days have probably gone backwards a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I know that, all the people who are more traditionalists definitely hate on T20 cricket, and they still absolutely froth Test cricket. But I don't know. I still froth Test cricket. I think it's so good to have on the background or all day.
Course.
It's nice to just have it on, have something on TV, and that you're a bit invested in, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. I would say that Test cricket isn't necessarily like not trending.
Both of you may disagree with me, but from my point of view, and I love my cricket. However, I speak a bit about regression, and I don't think of it exactly as what you guys spoke about with that incident. I think about it more as these big events is what people get excited for. I'm going to use an example here. You ask your friend to go to a cricket game on the weekend, just a standard cricket game. They may say no. It comes to Jane McGrath Met round. You ask them to go. They're going to say yes. These big events like the Boxing Day match, which is some people watch once a year. Jane McGrath Day. These events is what we get excited for, and I feel like as cricket,
Katy Perry playing at the World Cup.
There's another highlight.
Yeah, there you go.
In Big Bash, we have those sort of like event days. So like they'll hype up the derby when we verse the Stars, and a lot more people sort of get there. So I definitely agree with you on that aspect.
Do you think it comes down to the marketing?
I think so.
Yeah, marketing.
Yeah. I reckon it's probably the marketing. That's the way how it is with everything, really. If something's marketed well, it's going to be successful.
Exactly.
Unless it's really shit. But
actually, I have a question. Is Australia versus England, is the Ashes, because Ashes is obviously still huge. I wouldn't doubt that. The Ashes, and I still am heartbroken over the day that Stokes did what he did to us. Oh, man, I'm still heartbroken to this day. But is Ashes a big thing in the women's as well? Because I'm not too sure. I haven't really heard, marketing-wise, I haven't even really heard anything about the Ashes.
Well, the Ashes happened last year, and we were actually over there touring as well as the Australia A, which was so cool to be able to sort of play warm-up games against England. We played a test match against them. We took 3 wickets in 3 days, and it was the longest freaking game of cricket I've ever played in my life.
3 wickets in 3 days?
We got rolled for like under 100 both times, yeah. I didn't even get a chance to bat. I was just a bowler. Anyway,
that's. I'm sorry. We don't want to talk about that. We won't talk too much about that because that's mad.
But I think last year's sort of Ashes probably wasn't spoken about a whole lot because it was in England, so it was a little bit harder, time zones and all that. Playing at 4 a.m. or whenever they did play. But yeah, in terms of the Ashes, they probably didn't market that enough clearly. But I think they saved up their money from not marketing that and did such a good job for the World Cup, because that was everywhere and you just couldn't escape it.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. Well, that World Cup was just bang. That was just absolutely bang on everywhere. Like I can't remember. I can remember seeing TV, every single maths, every single Married at First Sight. There's a bloody ad. Every single what's it called? The other one, Australian Survivor. Sponsored post. My Instagram feed was just lit up. Like, if you're not at this cricket, you're a loser, basically. That's what I was getting on my Instagram. Much. So
I think they did a good job there.
They did do really, really well. So, and obviously we saw 86.
No.
Well, we will, yeah. And then we saw 86,000 at their final. So that's pretty massive. But who's the best player you've played with on a personal level? Like, who's the best player you've played with?
Definitely Lisa Perry. She's professional in all aspects, and she's so hardworking. It's insane. Like, elite at everything. Training, watching her train, getting into the zone, like even warming up. Like, she just does everything to a T. It's something to definitely look up to.
That shows the best. That's why she's the best. That's
why she is the best.
Yep, she definitely watches Gary Vaynerchuk every morning. She 100% watches Gary V every morning. That's the way. You know? Who's the best player that you've watched growing up that has led you to become who you're becoming? Like, is there someone who's helped you from a viewership wise?
To be honest, I actually never really watched cricket growing up. Like it's a bit embarrassing sometimes because someone will name drop and I'm like, yeah, that person.
Yeah, great. Yeah, that was awesome that day when you did that thing.
But I actually did and still do, as I literally just mentioned. Elise Perry. She was probably the main sort of idol for me growing up. When I was younger, I know we had this cool week of cricket in Sydney, and Elise Perry was there, and a couple of other players. But I always just remember seeing her and meeting her and seeing how good she was. So she was probably my idol growing up. It was really embarrassing. Yeah.
Why is it embarrassing?
Oh,
that'll work
she
well.
Knows.
She knows. Well, she surely when you get to that level of quality and experience that that people within your industry look up to.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that should be something that you're proud of. Get behind it.
I did look up to Andrew Simons and his ink, so that's one thing that really stuck with me.
Yeah, of course. Well, guys,
and his butt. No.
Sorry, what did you say? What was that?
I said Binger's butt.
Oh, lovely. All right. Well, guys, we have been going on for about an hour, but before we jump off, I want to. What's your passions outside of the game? Like, obviously, cricket is your main thing, but what's your passion outside of the game that you're focusing on?
Do industrial design at uni, which is product design, and it's so fun. Like, we're playing around with robot arms and 3D printers and, heaps of cool different carbon fiber. And so my passion outside of cricket is probably the creative industry and design. And that's where this thing sort of came into play, is where I made, just started doodling on little objects, and I do a little bit of leather craft, making wallets and things, which is,
I need a new wallet. I actually do need a new wallet. If my wallet was near me.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Uni has been so busy. I've got one assignment left on Friday, and then I'm free. And plug in right here, insert 6-stitch design on Instagram. That's
6-stitch design. It's right there. You can see.
It's linked in with who I am, which is a cricketer. So 6 stitches is the cricket aspect. That's where I got it.
Yeah, that's all. That's right there. You can see it right there. If you can't see it, well, there's something wrong with you, because it's right there. It's right there right now.
And I also have a little fun account with Georgia Wareham, who plays for the Renegades as well, and also Leggy for Australia. She's my bestie. We have a little media account called Brown Wolf Media, which is sick. But she usually is the mastermind behind the pictures, and I'm the director and whatever. But
the director, that's a big word.
Fun. I'm look, let's go here. This is our location. We're shooting here. Yeah. It's more of just a piss take, but I mean, it actually looks pretty sick. So.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Well, I love those the drawings you do, and I'm definitely coming to you for a wallet. I'm definitely coming to you for a wallet. Yeah. Because if I had it around
stock
here right
brewing.
Now, what's that? Sorry.
I said I got some stock brewing.
Oh yeah, that's it. I'm making sure the DMs, they're blowing up as soon as they come dropping. I'm grabbing one of those. But thank you so much for coming on. Obviously, we've had a fantastic chat about all things cricket, from women to Australian cricket in general, and it's been fantastic. So thank you very much for coming on. Obviously, your social media links are all below, and the 6 stitches.
Yeah, boy. Thanks so much for having me. Really enjoyed chatting cricket with you, and look forward to seeing it.
Yeah, well, I look forward to seeing the bit of the internet struggles that we've had on both ends. That'll be.
I know. I'm so sorry for that.
No, that's literally what I go through with Fiji every single week. You ask Hayden, it's normal, isn't it, Hayden?
It is. And you called out Fiji. Speaking of Fiji, you brought us to a great point. Fijians in my DMs. I'd like to call out Blaze for calling Sri Lanka backwards.
Excuse me?
Let's rewind the podcast.
Sri Lanka backwards?
You did.
I said third world country. When did I say backwards?
No. Maitlan,
no, you said we were performing backwards.
Oh, yeah, no, Sri Lanka.
Shout out to Chachala.
Yeah. Sri Lanka, if you're listening right now, your team is performing backwards. I'm sorry, but it's true. There you go. Like, it's
He's
just
shitting
true.
it. He's scared now.
No, I'm not scared. Come at me. Well, that's gonna do it for today, guys. That is gonna do it today. Thank you so much for Hayden for coming along as well.
It's been good. Thanks, Maitlan. Good chat about cricket and
No
the
worries.
women's game. Thanks for being our first women's guest.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
The first women's guest, and yeah, so that was a really awesome chat. If you haven't subscribed yet, obviously go down there, hit the subscribe button, and also, like I said, we're available on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and TuneIn. So if you obviously can't get around to watching on YouTube, you've got plenty of other options that you can listen to on the way home from work. Hopefully you've got some work. I really do hope everyone is getting back to normal. Obviously, things are starting to get back to the restrictions are easing. So we do really truly hope that everyone is staying safe, staying healthy, and do hit that like button if you have enjoyed as well. And we've got some big guests coming up. We've obviously had some big guests before. So this is definitely the podcast for you if you do love your sport. But that is going to do it for today, guys. So thanks for watching. Catch you later. See ya.